5.7% in 2011, 8% in 2021, 9,905 in 2017, 9,948 in 2016, 13,948 in 2021. Now, what are these fancy numbers which I'm speaking about? Well, it's not about the economy of India, but I'm speaking about the steady increase of student suicides which are happening in India. Let me just tell you this for a matter of fact. The 2021 was called the dread era of India because most of the student registered suicides were in that particular year. Now, in these particular students who die, 30% of them die due to family problems where there is no understanding between the parents and the students or the kids. And 58% of them die because of mental health issues. Now, these mental health issues are experienced by the students mostly because of the peer pressure and the pressure which a student experiences in his or her educational institutions, depression, anxiety, etc. Now, let me tell you another heartbreaking fact, or that fact which you particularly know or which many particularly don't speak about. And that is this, that more than 90% of the students who die in India are the ones who are below 18 years. And these students are the ones who prepare for competitive examinations of India like NEET and JEE. Now, these two examinations of India require the student to be very capable and require the educational institution to put a lot of pressure on the student to become for his or her excellence. Most of the students after their school life either aim for a medical future, a future in medicine, or a future in engineering, right? To get a secure job for a secure future. No complaints. But this has to be told, scientifically told. Now, this is not about me discriminating anyone. I'm just speaking in a scientific way. That the average IQ of an Indian student is between 85 to 115. Whereas the IQ which is required to crack competitive examinations like JEE and NEET is almost around above 110. And this has to be told that 98% of the students are always floating between having having an IQ of 85 to 95 only. Now, my point is, why do you want to pressurize the student for his or her excellence to crack an examination to get the best ranks? And why do you want to pressure the student so much which is causing him to take his own life? Now, I am being really driven towards this topic of student suicides because there was one girl, my senior, who did a suicide herself in my educational institution. I'm afraid about my own future generation. I'm afraid where the generation of today is creating a path for the generation of tomorrow. Now, I want to also speak about the meaning of education and how clumsy and how the Indian education system is full of flaws. Now, according to the Oxford Dictionary and according to the definition given by the literates around the world, education is the act or process of imparting or acquainting general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning, judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or others intellectually for a mature life. And now is where the question needs to be raised, and now is when the bar needs to be raised, the bar of question needs to be raised regards, is this inter-education or this Indian education really providing the students which education requires to particularly give the students? Like, are the students getting the things which they are required to get through the Indian education system? No. And the flaws which I find in Indian education system are many. First of all, speaking about the government. Now, the government in India doesn't really care about what a student studies. or how a student studies, but only cares about how much a student studies. Now the question needs to be raised regards why is there no balance maintained between the quantity and quality of education which a student gets in India. If you look at the political manifestos also, there are many manifestos given by the political leaders saying that they'll do this, that, etc. Or you can say everything for the society except then improving, except then making one of the things which actually needs to be improved in India to be improved. Why? Why isn't the government speaking up for something like this? Why isn't there particularly any revolution of education as such in India? Second of all, I find a lot of problem in the way the Indian education system is divided. There is SSC, there is CBSE, there is ICSE, and several boards. When all of them are teaching the same topic to the students, then why does it need a particular division? Why can't all students come from the same education board? For it to become easier for them to connect with each other, to understand the way students learn with each other. Now, third flaw which I find is the particular, I'd like to say, the pyramid, which is totally deteriorated. The pyramid, which I call it the pyramid of education system in India, which is composed of the students, parents, and the teachers. There is no particular connectivity between these three parts of the pyramid, causing the student to be the most targeted, or causing the student to experience the aftermath of bad relations between the students, teachers, and the parents. Next, I want to speak about the interests of student. Student has many interests when a particular kid is in school. They like dancing, they like writing, they like reading, they like singing. Now, why aren't these interests really taken into consideration when that kid enters life, or when that kid goes out of passes out his or her school life? Why aren't there changes made in that era? Why aren't there changes made in a particular way where the student can particularly achieve something according to his own interest or follow his or her own passions? Now, I'm not trying to say this that there is no freedom given for the student, but I'd like to say this that there is no security given to the student if he or she follows his or her passion. Why is it so? Now, if you look at countries like China, if you look at countries like America, if you look at countries like Korea, etc., there are many branches of education. There is not just medicine, there is not just engineering, but there is sports, there are many other curricular activities like music, like dancing, like writing, literary clubs, artistic clubs, theater clubs, etc., for student to pursue his or her degree. Now, why isn't there that particular division of education in India? We are in the 21st century, but why isn't India able to move forward at the same pace like the other countries? It's a simple question. Why? Why isn't anyone speaking about such things when it actually needs to be spoken about? Why do the people always care about marks, ranks, etc., when it doesn't really guarantee a secured life for that student? And why are the students taking their own lives? Why are we losing almost around 23 lives according to the statistics each day, just because of these few flaws which are there in the education system? Now, I want to also question this and also answer the question which I'm posing right now regards all the toppers being successful or topping the exam of life as well. Now, this has to be told according to the data, that all the toppers who top in NEET, JEE, etc., are not the heroes or the heroines of their life in the tomorrow. They're not the ones who pass the exam of life. Indeed, it has been told that all the toppers of several examinations are being average, are particularly average, below average, or are failing in the exam of life because they're not able to cope up with their own emotions, not able to speak up for themselves, not able to take the right decisions once they get into a good, once they pass out this phase of education in their life. यार तब जब तुम्हें पता चल रहा है कि ये सब हो रहा है and topping in a particular exam, or doing your best in a particular exam, when you notice that it doesn't feed you or it doesn't help you become successful, then why do you want to become so much stressful about it? Why? And I also spoke about IQ, right? Now, when you know this, that education system should be made in such a way that it favors not just the people with high IQ, but the students with low, or like with an average or a below average IQ as well, then why isn't the education system bringing the changes which needs to be brought, which need to be brought? There are many examples of people, not just in the entertainment industry, but in the entrepreneur industry, but who are great entrepreneurs, who are great sportsmen, who are great authors, etc., who are college dropouts, but still managed to become successful in their life. Now, why were they successful in their life? Were they pressurized by anyone? No. They followed their passion, they followed their interests. Now, why aren't the students of today following their passions or following their interests as diversely as they thought of or as they dreamt of in their school life? Again, the answer is pressure. Yaar, Sachin Tendulkar failed his 10th standard. He didn't study beyond 10th. Not Rohit Sharma, it's Hardik Pandey. He didn't pass out his 9th standard. And there is Kajol, there is Katrina Kaif, there is Akshay Kumar, there is Salman Khan, and there is unforgettably Robert Downey Jr., who we worship as Iron Man. And there are several other authors and writers around the world who were college dropouts, who particularly didn't study because they thought that they couldn't do it in that way. They couldn't do it the way others were doing it. They discovered something else. They followed what was meant for them. Now, when we know this, that all these 5 fingers that we have in our hand are different, then why aren't we particularly understanding this, that the same logic is applied when it comes to the society and the brains or the mindset of the kids as well? Why aren't we allowing the kids to speak up for themselves, to follow what actually interests them? Now, my motivation, I'm not giving any motivation now. I'm not trying to tell students ki dekho ye karo, wo karo. I'm trying to express my grief to see how many students, to see how many young lives are being lost each day. Not in a battle, not in any war, but because of but because of depression and mental illness. This can't be continued, guys. We know this, that the youth is the strength of India. We know this, that the population of youngsters in India is the most than compared to any other country. Then why is the youth, which is the strength of the country, becoming the weakness of the country as well? Right? So let's speak up for ourselves. Understand what truly interests you, dear people, dear co-classmates, or dear viewers. Understand what actually gives you that passion on the inside. Speak up for yourself. Try convincing your parents. Try making your parents as broad-minded as possible. And try to pursue your future, pursue your career in the way of your passion. Speak up for yourself and speak up for the others around you. Try to radiate as much positivity as possible and make this country, which is experiencing death threats, which is experiencing suicides each day, Make this country the garden, the garden of happiness, the garden where there are many beautiful flowers of youngsters around. Tomorrow, make this country future ready. Make this country the best country for the future generation to experience. Do everything that you can. And please speak up for yourselves and seek help that if you want to. Don't take the wrong decision, because one wrong decision which you might take in your life can result in ending up your entire life.